Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Pro Cycling Manager 2019 Career Mode episode number 95. 1st of July, we're going to have our national road races today, but also we need to complete our updated dossiers today. We have 6 points to use. Let's take a brief look at where the riders we already have dossiers open on, how they're looking. For the most part, it's looking pretty dang good. For one, they're all in yellow, nobody in red, so that's a good start. Most of them have high percentage increases, most, with only some exceptions. And realistically, you can look at this and go, okay, well, Pogacar is not going to come up beyond his partial interest. He's only gained 5%. But then again, we just added him last session. Maybe over these 2 sessions, it'll improve a bit more, but you can expect it's not going to jump to green. Hagita looks pretty close. Ciccone looks pretty close. I think they're going to come along. Garcia Cortina already at max. Gegenhardt is up there. Might not get to max, though. Sahin, over 2 months, has gained 32%, which is really good, but he's still only at 58, so he's probably not going to get all the way up there, but we could certainly approach him like this. Scott Davies is just about to hit the mark, so that's good. Martinez might make it. These guys already have. Grossschartner, another one that is going to be close, might make it. George Bennett might make it. Tim Wellens, that's one that's clearly not going our way. He's only a 75. He's only gained 10% in a month of dossiers, so you could expect maybe he'll gain another 10-15%, but probably not any more than that. And while Fellner has only gained 10%, we only just added him, and he's at 88. So you could expect that pretty much all of these other guys will max out. So we're looking at potentially all but maybe 3 getting to 100% interest. I know it's not going to be all but 3, but potentially all but 3 could make it to full-blown interest, which means we're going to have a lot of guys to choose from that are going to be approachable, would want to sign for us, would take less money, which means we could sign potentially more riders than we were looking at, which initially was kind of a 0 or maybe 1 or 2. I think we're going to be able to, especially the way we've been able to manage the finances this season. I think we could easily take on $30,000 to $40,000 more in salaries next season and not have an issue. And that still is, even if there is a next season with PCM20 on the way, but we'll still approach it as if there will be one. So Lopez is already super excited to sign for us. We only have 6 points to spend. All of these guys are too expensive on that. So Michael Matthews is kind of the first one that comes down within range. Matthews would be great. But as a sprinter, we have our sprint team in check, right? I've got what I want there. We don't need another guy. So do we want to look at like a Tish Benut, who's a 77 overall, classics rider? Okay, that would be good. Of course, I've already made some massive improvements there, as we have 2 top classics riders. So again, with probably not going to go that direction. Kunio Ito likes us. It's only going to cost us 3 points to go after him. I know it's another sprinter, but that could potentially, open things up. And looking at the points and who's here, and Dan Van Poppel, Magnus Cort Nielsen, not really. No, he's a little bit of a do everything. Would be a nice little addition, and the interest is already really high. At this point, it's so hard to find someone that's worth going after up here. Maybe what I need to look at is who's already got high interest levels. There's 4 that are already maxed out. Now, looking at this, you instantly jump down to a 76 and some 75s. Berdor, sprinters. There's a puncher, Rudy Millard, but he's already 31. Though I suppose age doesn't matter anymore. But here's climbers, 2-star guys. These are good domestique types. Up and coming riders. 2 points. Maybe that's my way to go. So let's go ahead and add them. 2 points. And 2 points. That leaves us with 2 more. And as close as they are, and with just a month to go, right? You see where I'm kind of headed with that is we are making things possible. You are only 1 point. And a good climber. Eritrean rider. Still have 1 point. Fabio Aru probably wants way too much money for his evaluation. Probably the same with now. That's the problem here is these guys are all a bit older. So we have 1 point left. And maybe it is going to be time to add a sprinter. Just because we only have 1 point. You never know, right? USA Championships just getting underway. This is a pretty hefty climb that we have here. Now here's the thing. There's only 54 riders here. And I brought a full contingency of 8 riders to this race. I want this breakaway to get away as quickly as possible without too many riders. And we're going to have to keep an eye on actually who is away. Okay, Joey Roskopf is here, so he is the biggest one to watch out for along with Taylor Eisenhart. What I want is that group to escape, get away, get a little bit of a distance so others aren't eager to try to join in, like you're still seeing right now. Riders kind of racing their way towards the front. McNulty. No, you're already set. He just didn't allow those guys to get away because his regular riding pace was too fast. That's funny. I'm fine with that. That's 4 less guys that I have to chase down. I'm going to have to control the peloton. I mean, that is a given. Brian, what has happened here? Come on now. Daniel's been dropped 2 over the top. Setting a 70 pace was not good. McNulty's the one who rode them off the back. It showed him as sitting pretty, staying in place, and yet somehow he was still riding in an attacking position. Yeah, thanks, game. Thanks. You glitched your way into dropping 2 of our riders. Alright, here comes Daniel. Okay, gaps out to 220. Definitely need to wait for Brian to get back on board here, get up into position, and then we'll kind of strategize as we're already through the first one. And like I said, it's giving that front group a little bit of time to get away. They're out to 3.5 minutes now as Brian's now in position. And I think that is enough gap to start managing, and B, now that I've got everybody here, it's a good time to figure out what it is we're going to do for this race. Now, that climb that's a pretty hefty climb. What is the 3 kilometers in length, 8% gradient, maxing at 16. That's That's a pretty hefty climb to hit, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 10 times. We're 10% of the way through. Actually, not quite, since we haven't recycled back to the start of the lap. But start-finish line appears to be right in the middle of the flattest section. Not that it's flat. This decline is definitely enough to recover a bit, but long term, I think that climb's going to do way more damage than the decline, meaning sprinters are not going to be winning this thing. It should be a very small group at the end, and I can certainly make it a very small group at the end with a full contingency of riders and other teams largely being, 1 or 2, maybe 3 riders. James Mather on a -3 does not bode well for him, but everybody else has a +1 or better. Barta is seen as one of the favorites because of his punchy ability. Logan Owen as well. Garrison is not, so why don't we put you on protection? McNulty is definitely going to be a favorite as the best climber and fairly punchy. Mather is up there, but again, this is what's going to hurt him today. Garfield pretty much matches and actually exceeds Mather today. Daniel is certainly one of our weak guys, and actually he's going to go on relay, not at an 80. Miguel Bryan, another one, even though he's a sprinter normally. Those two are going to work the front of the field. So Garrison, we got that sorted. McNulty is certainly a favorite. These guys are not, so let's use them to protect the others. And there you go. There's our initial set. Let's exclude those two and then set you to a comfortable pace. And then that means we'll be focusing on Gregory Daniel and Miguel Bryan for a while. Let's see if a 68 is enough to maintain the gap to the breakaway. Looks like we're holding at about a 345. It's coming down by a few seconds, so let's try a 67. They're still pulling back time. So 66. Nice flat open finish. It is slightly uphill. Whoever I've got left at the end, my 3 guys that we're protecting, Owen has a little bit of sprint to him. So, if anything, Logan Owen might be the guy we're going for today in the end. Again, we've got a peloton of 48. I have 8 of them. There's 40 riders that we need to shed. We've already pulled back a minute on that break. Boy, those guys are weak. Going slow. There we go. Now it's opening back up. So they're between a 65 and 66. Okay, it seems to be holding relatively steady now. Alright, nothing doing for a little while, but I'm not going to just skip. Let's go ahead and time-lapse towards the beginning of the action. 44 kilometers to go, and it's time to really start turning things up. There's still 47 riders in the peloton. One of the two out the back is Miguel Bryan. We had dropped some riders, but they got back on when the pace wasn't so hot. They couldn't handle the climbs. We've really just now stepped up the pace as the gap was out to 3.5 minutes, but the breakaway has been crumbling. They're down to just 3 riders, so even though it's still a 3-minute gap, there's only 3 riders out ahead. But the thing to watch out for is that it's Kielreinen, Joey Rosskopf, and Taylor Eisenhart, meaning it's definitely the strongest trio. So we're pulling back time, but it's not actually going to be an easy thing to do. Daniel spent most of the day on the front, and you can see Daniel is getting dropped now. Garrison's not going to last much longer here, so I will need to start using the other guys, but there's really only 2 climbs left, and it's still almost 3 minutes. So as we go over the top here, it is time to really step up this chase in a big way. Garrison, let's use your gel as he leads it over the top. We are getting some support now, but it's going to be a difficult catch on those 3 guys at this point. They sped up before I sped up, and while the gap was at 2:15, all of a sudden it was almost 4 before I kind of caught on to that, and that was a little mistake on my part. These national races always play out differently than a normal race, always, and it's forcing me to control the peloton, something I don't do regularly. It doesn't play into my style, and I get caught out a little bit from time to time, and not in a good way. Mather's going to need to step it up big time here as well, so we're going to bring him up. I actually want Garrison. Just finish yourself off here, buddy. Alright, he's done. I already set him to auto, so Mather's going to take over. Mather's got a good amount of energy. I'm trying to think what we have left here. Garfield is still here. Two and a half minutes. Not an easy catch, but those guys have got to be pretty tired. It's been a pretty long race. Got the energy to go the distance. Really need to step up the pursuit here. Garfield will be next, and then I'll have to kind of sprint train my guys on that last climb. Peloton is shrinking. It's down to 42 riders, so fatigue is really setting in. There's not a lot of strong riders in this field. And there they are. So we are catching up to those guys. It's down to 220. That's still a pretty sizable gap, but it's going to be pretty difficult for them to stay away the way we are chasing. Mather almost out of energy, so we need to bring up Garfield. And Mather's done. We actually still haven't even dropped Garrison. Garrison has not been dropped. He's recovered on the downhill. Down to 2 minutes. And excluding Mather, who is very much toast. Alright, it's time to kick this thing into gear. Owen was the quickest, right? Yes. And Barta and McNulty, and then Garfield, who's already behind Garrison. How far back are you guys? Not far. Barta's back there. Mather's out of this thing. Let's give them a second to get up there. Alright. So, Garrison, do your dirty work now that they're on your wheel. 2 minute gap. We can see it crumble away pretty quick. Minute 45. Alright, Garfield, your turn. Use your gel now. 16K to go. I want to leave a lot of this peloton behind, otherwise we are not going to win a sprint. So Garfield, accelerate. There you go. Okay, McNulty, it's down to 39 seconds.
Oh my, the guys up front aren't going to be making too many friends today.
Okay, where is... Okay, Garfield's too far down. What I need is McNulty. Go backwards. Sparta. Keep pushing. Oh, we're almost to the top here. Still 21 riders left. That's... there we go. 7 riders. We got separation. Big separation. Good, 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 good. Okay, so you guys, you're done. Okay, so we did split the field in the end. Garfield, I do not want Garfield, I want you to sit up. I don't want anyone to close that gap. So what do we have? Sepkus struggling to hang on. For Mark, Paulus is here. Paulus has no sprint. And Van Garderen has no sprint. For Mark does a little bit, so hopefully we can drop him. And Koos is a little too far back and doesn't have the sprint either. So this trio, not Garfield. Okay, you guys need to work together, except Logan Owen. No, I don't want you to work. You're going to hang on. $12K, mostly downhill. Barta and McNulty are just going to keep whatever pace they can to make sure we open a gap behind us and not let anyone back in. And then meanwhile, Owen's going to recover. So it is still together. 7 riders. Koos was able to get on. But again, the only one was it for Mark who could kind of sprint. None of them really. I mean, Owen should win this, especially with 2 teammates to lead him out. 6K, 40 seconds. Okay, 5.5K, use your gels. 5K banner, still downhill. Alright, now, Barta and McNulty try to go about a 96. Get 95. It's at 40 seconds behind us, so we just got to make sure that that gap's not coming down. Okay, 3K to go. Sprint train. Owen on the back. McNulty's got more energy than Bart does, so regardless of whatever they're capable of, it's going to be based on that energy. Okay, so 99. Lead out. Okay, 2.2K. Sprint, so accelerate. Hopefully we'll force these guys into trying to sprint early. McNulty hopefully can get me a kilometer. He's not fast enough to hurt Owen, so Owen's still at full strength. We're inside the final kilometer now, so he did get me a kilometer. Now Owen, all you need is 900 meters. Van Garderen's still there, but those guys were already accelerating. There's Paulus, and we've dropped the other 3. Okay, for Mark, Koos, out of it. We're guaranteed a top 3 now. We're on the podium. Can we get the win? Can we beat TJ and Paulus? Oh, and I'm going to wait 50 meters. There we go. Go, go, go. Oh, what a late start for Owen. No, no, no. Come on. You let Paulus beat you like that? Ah. I should have gone that 50 meters ago because he had enough energy for 50 meters. Should have trusted my instinct. I just knew he wasn't a sprinter. I don't see how Palace had that much energy left. Well, that's okay. Nielsen Palace is the future of American racing. Not McNulty, it's Palace. So, good for him. Good for him. It's actually good to see that the true best American riders of the future were all at the front. Second place, though, a little disappointing. We could have won that, should have won that. I should have sent him that 50 meters earlier. I didn't trust that he had enough to last that long. I wanted to wait just that inch longer and that one bike length. Then again, Palace beat us by more than one bike length. I think even if I went that 50 meters earlier, Palace still wins it. I think Owen would have still been a half bike length behind him, which is weird because he's not a strong sprinter. He might have been in top form today, possibly, focusing on it. I wouldn't be surprised. To me, if my name's Nielsen Palace and I'm that level of a rider in this country that doesn't have any dominant riders, I would have focused on this day for a +4, +5 race day condition. Would have been an objective for me. If that's the case, I could see him winning it. None of my guys were... We had good, positive race day conditions, but none of my guys were set as the type of rider who today would have or should have been their focus. So second, fourth, Barta all the way down in 17th. 19th, 44th. Yeah, I sent him. That was a lot more than a bike length, actually, at that point. But, I mean, we barely beat TJ. Yeah, see, it was more than 50 meters after the finish that we even got side by side with him, let alone ahead of him. So, no, I don't think going 50 meters sooner would have made that difference. For one thing, I was still rolling along those 50 meters. It's not like we weren't. It's not like we weren't at a 99 behind our teammate. But he won it by at least a full bike length between us. So he won by at least 2 bike lengths. And 50 meters after, we had only closed that down by about 1 bike length. And he only had a 1 bike length head start on me. So he pulled away, not us bringing it back. There at the end, we were bringing it back. He had expended red bar, it looks like, just at the end. And we had not. So yes, we would have gained 1 bike length, but not more than that. For Denmark, Pedersen had fitness peak. Good, strong rider, but not a sprinter. But because there aren't that many strong Danish sprinters, he actually placed well in our quick sim. Took second. But if I had done it, that one rider by himself wouldn't have done anything. Mater took third. We're on to 30K to go in the Belgian National Road Race. And even though I only have 2 riders here, it's my 2 best riders. And for the profile, it's about the 2 best that you could hope for. I have a strong climber in Evenepoel. There's a bit of a climb to do, as we're seeing a little attack, aren't we?
Counter-attack by Van Marker.
I gotta hope these guys pull them back. These, okay, Phillips and just gentle. We gotta make sure we don't get dropped. Looks like we've got a breakaway group trying to do something here. Anyway, it's a bit of an uphill. So Evenepoel, as a strong climber, counters that very well. And but then it's really only a 400 meter uphill swing. That's it. So Philipsen has every chance as the best sprinter by far in the country to still win the race. Evenepoel to lead him out could work pretty well, but we're seeing this big acceleration right now as one attack after another is coming, but it's being countered by the field. Right now we're just trying to make sure that we don't get left behind, and we're okay right now. Those 4 guys are not, well, that's 4 very strong riders trying to get away. 13K to go. It's 20-second gap. Right now we've got Toynes.
Evolution doesn't seem to favor those in the rear. There's a growing list of riders left behind.
Chasing it down, 16 seconds, 10K to go.
10 kilometers to the finish line.
Okay, 10 seconds.
The sprinters are positioning themselves up front.
Okay, we caught him for a second.
Pack is back on level turn.
I'm trying to not use all of our energy so we still get a lead out. And these guys are not that far away right now. And really, really pushing hard, so they are burning their energy. But Evenepoel does not have much left as a type of lead out here. Those guys have pulled out a few more seconds again, though, so we are going to need to accelerate a little bit here. It looks like they're about to be brought in. And there we go. There it is. 3K to go. Stuyven had enough energy to attack again. How did he do that? I have no idea how he just did that. But Evenepoel is done before the finish line. So Philipsen has to accelerate early. But here we go with the sprint. Philipsen, can he catch and pass Stuyven before the line? He will not. Stuyven, I don't know how he had the energy to do that. Those 3 riders were 99 attacking for 20 kilometers, one after another, taking turns, trying to attack, getting 0 separation. 99 effort for 20K, and yet he just burst away after we caught them.
Through sheer willpower. This stage was a real strength sapper.
How he did that, I don't know. That was Superman ride there from Stuyven. That was godly how he broke away like that. Philipsen easily outsprinted everybody else. Easily outsprinted them. And made up 17 of a 19-second gap in 1 kilometer. But where Stuyven was able to get that sort of a gap after the effort he had just put in for 20 kilometers is absurd. That is absolutely absurd. I mean, that's superhuman. Second place. Just like in the US. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to hit that like button, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.